So to reach these increased energy factors we just shared with you, the DOE has developed some very specific parameters, and they're mostly based on the size of the unit. Let's start with residential units sized from 20 to 50 gallons, a common size, right? The guidelines of these sizes apply to both gas and electric conventional tanked units, and it does specify that the units must increase the tank insulation from 1 inch thick to 2 inches thick on the sides, and which is represented in this top-down view on that one. They're going to get 1 inch thicker, so that's 2 inches overall. And from 2 inch thick insulation to 4 inches on the top, which of course is going to make that unit quite a bit taller as well. So this in essence makes a newer 40-gallon unit about the size of an older 50-gallon unit. So my question to you is, why might this be significant in a claim scenario? Well, what if the newer unit, which is larger, won't fit in the same space as that original unit, like this claim example where it's tucked in a real tight niche there? You may have to allow for a relocation or even possibly a building modification to make that happen. That can be a challenge. And there are even more dramatic changes for units that are 55 gallons and up. And for these regulations, they are different for natural gas versus electric units. Let's start with gas water heaters. Per these new regulations, they must be high efficiency units and can no longer be allowed to vent into a chimney. That's pretty significant. And notice the difference with high efficiency units, they have that extended condensing heat exchanger that allows the unit to transfer most of the heat to the water. Obviously a good thing, right? So since they will have very little to no heat left in the combustion gases to create that draft, the unit will also have to have a draft inducer fan to pull those gases up and out of the unit. And of course, we now can use a plastic or PVC flue pipe. These units will also need a condensate drain as well, and relocation is going to probably be needed because you won't be by the chimney anymore. You're probably going to be by the side of the house to vent to the outside. The changes are even more dramatic with electric units that are over 55 gallons. They must be replaced with a hybrid electric heat pump model, which we covered briefly in that other types section we did earlier. So to review, this type does use a refrigerant to capture heat in the ambient air and transfer that heat into the water. Notice this unit has a compressor, a condensing coil, an evaporator coil, and a fan to make this work, very similar to an HVAC heat pump. So it is capturing that heat from the air and transferring it into the water via the refrigerant. And here are some more things to consider with this type of unit. It may not fit in the original location for two reasons. One, these units are much bigger physically. And to operate effectively, these units need at least 1,000 cubic feet of airspace around the water heater. So if you want to see that in math terms, that could be a room that's maybe 10 feet by 10 feet by 10 feet, for example. It can't be tucked in a small closet anymore. So could be a lot of changes required on that.